In the year 707 AD, the newly formed Bulgarian state stood proud and defiant. Only decades old, this nation had already shaken the mighty Byzantine Empire. From the steppes to the Black Sea, and from the mountains to the rivers, Bulgaria was more than just a kingdom. It was a rising power in a region on fire. Join us as we dive into the gripping year of 707, a year of strategic defense, cultural transformation, and growing identity for the Bulgarians. By 707 AD, Bulgaria's borders had solidified after the Treaty of 681, but they were far from secure. Khan Tervel, son of the legendary Asparuh, ruled a territory stretching from the Eastern Balkans to the Danube. To the south, the Byzantines, always wary, still saw Bulgaria as a threat. Skirmishes along the frontier were common. Fortifications were strengthened in key areas like the Rishki Pass and the Iskar Gorge, using the natural mountain terrain as a defensive advantage. The Danube served both as barrier and trade route, a lifeline for the young state. Khan Tervel had already earned recognition from Byzantium, not just as an enemy, but as a kingmaker. Just a few years earlier, he helped restore Justinian II to the throne of Constantinople and was rewarded with titles and treasures. But trust between empires fades quickly. In 707, Tervel focused on strengthening his internal rule, rewarding loyal boyars, developing early governance structures, and enforcing Bulgaria's independence with military readiness. His leadership style blended fearlessness with diplomacy, a rare balance in an age of conquest. By 707, the Slavs were no longer just allies. They were part of the foundation of the Bulgarian state. Settled mainly in the interior valleys, they cultivated land and served in the military. In exchange, they received protection and autonomy. Over time, their traditions blended with those of the Bulgars. Slavic languages became widespread, and Slavic spirituality influenced Bulgarian rituals. These tribes were not conquered. They were absorbed into a new identity, Bulgarian. In 707, the peace with Byzantium was growing fragile. Some sources suggest that border raids began again, perhaps small, probing attacks near Thrace. The Byzantines, frustrated with Bulgaria's rising influence, sought to remind the Khan who ruled these lands. But the Bulgarians held strong. Using guerrilla tactics, knowledge of the terrain, and their fortified passes, they repelled any advance. Khan Tervel knew that one battle could reignite a war, and so diplomacy remained in play, but always with sword in hand. Religion in Bulgaria in 707 was deeply spiritual and tied to the land and sky. The elite followed Tangrism, a sky-worshipping belief system focused on the eternal blue sky, Tungri. Shamans and priests were not just spiritual leaders, but political advisors. Before major decisions, like battle or treaties, the Khan consulted them. Natural signs, dreams, and bird patterns guided fate. Some say that in 707, prophecies warned of betrayal, a sign that the Byzantines would one day break their uneasy peace. Pliska was more than a camp. It was the embryo of a capital. In 707, the city began its early transformations. Khan Tervel ordered new defensive structures, central meeting halls, and temples built in Bulgar style. Located in a valley, Pliska was shielded by the mountains, but open enough for trade. Roads were carved, wells were dug, and a political center was slowly forming. Here, decisions that would affect all Bulgarians were made, and this year marked the rise of its importance. Trade in 707 wasn't just about gold. It was about control. Bulgarian merchants traded furs, honey, and weapons with both Slavs and Greeks. Horses, the lifeblood of Bulgar military dominance, were bred and sold selectively. Black Sea ports provided indirect access to eastern goods via steppe tribes. Control over passes and trade routes meant power, and Bulgaria was fast becoming a key player between the east and west. In 707, Bulgaria was no longer a backwater nomadic land. It was being watched by the Byzantines, by the Avars, and even by Arab chroniclers beginning to document the world beyond Syria. Tervel's alliances and strength made Bulgaria visible. While the Franks focused west and the Arabs moved east, the Balkans stood at the center. Bulgaria, though young, was becoming a gateway and a gatekeeper in a world rapidly changing. 707 AD was a year of silence before the storms, a time of growth, tension, and destiny. Bulgaria, under Khan Tervel, wasn't just surviving. It was shaping a legacy, from shamanic fires to border forts, and from Pliska's early buildings to the Danube's trade boats, a nation was rising. If you enjoyed this journey into 706 AD, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Exciting Historian. Want to support my work? Join me on Patreon, buy me a coffee, or Ko-Fi to help keep these stories coming. What do you think was the most important event in 707? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold.